Shalom Aleichem, everyone. We're continuing Hachzig's learning of the Pele Yoetz. Day number 190, still in the chapter here of Dibor, of all of the things that are Devar Masurim, that we are not allowed to speak about. And he says like this, Asr, Levazais, L'shum Adam Kinisnan, you're not allowed, it's Asr, to embarrass any person. Like it says in Pirkei Avos, do not be shameful to anyone. Rabbi Chazal teach us, every person that you meet, you can be chayshid, you can be suspicious of them like you are of listim of bandits. So you should guard yourself from them. However, but you should be mechabed them, honor them, like you would to the great Rabbi Gamliel. So you can be chayshid, but you have to give them honor. Don't embarrass anyone. Fine. If you call your friend an eved, a slave, a rasha, you rasha, or mecharev or if you insult him, you curse him, b'shar cherufin v'gedufin, with any other types of insults and curses that you hurl at him, chayev nidui, you're chayev nidui, you should be excommunicated, a kanas, or some kind of a fine you should pay for being so rude to another person. Even to little children. It's not proper to insult them and to curse them. Especially if you say to them, you're so cursed, you deserve to be put in nidui, the person is saying himself, he can be put into nidui. If you call people, you chamor, you donkey, or you call them any other animals that are tameos, that are impure animals. You see, you ostrich, you lizard, you call them all of these names. You cause that the impure name of the animal that you call that person, the klipa, these negative forces and shells, as we've spoken about before, these layers that will hold back the kedusha, it ends up sticking to the nefesh, to that person himself. Now, it's unclear whether or not he means to the person who says the names of Tuma, the impure animals, or to the person that you're calling the impure animal. Either way that you slice it over here, it's not good. You're bringing down Tuma, impurity, either onto yourself or onto the other person. There are many people that are not careful with this. And they call people, you donkey, kelev, you dog. And you have to inform them, they're destroying their souls. Again, whether they're destroying their own soul or the soul of the person over there, it's all bad. And therefore, be careful, and we should not hear from anybody's mouth the words, impure words, or impure names of the animals. And people that give drushes, public drushes, they have to be so careful not to embarrass people, berabim, not to embarrass the masses. You get up sometimes and you speak in very general terms, and you call everybody in that room a name that you shouldn't call them. You put them down. That's a terrible thing. When you darshan about something that you know that this particular crowd is not particular in, even if you have a sefer that you're quoting, and it says in that sefer there are many ignorant people who do X, Y, and Z, you should make it your best effort to speak in a clean language over here. You should say, you say the majority of the general populace does such and such a thing. You don't call them amaratzim, ignoramuses. You call them the general populace. That's a nice way to say it, and you can still get the same point across without hurting their feelings. A person should always speak in a clean language, so you don't disgrace anybody with your words, and there will be no reason for them to be makpid, to be upset with you. Says the Pele Yoetz, a person should always speak in a clean language. Nothing unfavorable should come out of their mouths. The Torah itself added 8 extra letters to it in order not to say something that was meguna, something that was not very nice. Like it says, it says when Noach was bringing the animals into the teva, into the ark, he brought the animals that were einena tahara, that were not pure. He could have just said the behemais tameos and left it at that, the impure animals. But no, the Torah went out of its way to speak in a lashon naki, in a clean way, which means that if the Torah is showing you, which never wastes one drop of its holy ink, it wrote extra letters, 2 extra words over there in order not to say the word tameya, we should be careful as well. Ukfar Omer, when it says in Shir Hashirim, Rabbi in the Midrash, Pume de Barnash, the mouth of a person, Machi Malaya, will reveal who he is. Whatever comes out of your mouth, whatever it is that you talk about, that will reveal who you are. Ki novel yidaber. A person is a novel, they're low life, they'll speak about their lowliness and these improper things. But someone that has tivuna, understanding and wisdom, his lips will speak beautiful things, show the wisdom that he is replete with. You should not say one statement that can be understood in 2 different ways. Because maybe the person who hears you will not know what you had in mind, and they will misinterpret your words. Don't rely upon the fact that, well, after he thinks about what I had to say, he'll understand what I meant. No. The Tana in the Mishnah Pigava says, don't say something that cannot be understood in the beginning, because you think that in the end he's going to be able to understand it. Don't think like that. You say things that can be understood clearly the way that they are right now. If you are ambiguous in your language, in your words, and what you say, the statements that you make, you could be asking for trouble. How many times does machlekes do arguments and fire, burning fires, because somebody said over something that was very cryptic and ambiguous, and the person who heard him thought that he had a very bad intention in what he was saying, and he gets angry, furious. How dare you say that about me? And until he begins to explain what he meant, already the flames of machlekes are burning. And who knows if when you try to explain what you were saying that you didn't really mean anything bad, they're going to believe you or not believe you. At that point, they're so angry, they're so furious, they're so upset with everything, they don't listen to a single word. Make sure your lips are, what you say is clear, absolute clarity. There should be no way to make a mistake in the words that you said, and that people would accuse you or be suspicious that you really had bad intentions in what you said. You have to be very particular. And do not open your big fat mouth to the satan without having any intention. What do we mean? If a person says, oh, I'll never do that again, I won't do that again, so then you should say in health and in life. Because if you say, I'll never do that again, maybe it means I'll never do that again because chas v'chalila, you won't be around to do it anymore. So then add the words, b'brius u'b'chaim, in health and in life, which means I won't do that particular action again, but I'm going to remain healthy and alive. Or as they say in the Ashkenazim say, he writes over here, belaz, shetir brius, which means, which should be with health. Which means, I'm not saying, chas v'chali, I'm never going to do this because I'm not going to be around anymore, God forbid. It means, I'm just not going to do that particular thing. You have to be very careful to stand strong in this area. Especially when you're speaking to one of your friends. If some kind of bad thing happens to them, God forbid, that you should not find anything in your own speech, in your own words, that Chalila could have caused such a thing. Like the error that goes out before the ruler, which means don't think, you have to be so careful with your words that we shouldn't be able to pin any of the downfalls or the problems of you and others because of the words that you said. I heard from one wise man. There was once a man that was going along the way, and they walked him out, and that was appropriate to do. And after the traveler went on his way, he was quite a distance already. So, as let's call him Reuven is going on his way, he's the traveler. So Shimon, who's the Balabai, is the owner of the house. He already left him. He left him on his way, but he remembers, I had something I had to tell to Reuven, and he calls him, "Hey, Reuven, come back for a minute." And the person that was asking him to come back, who we're calling over here Shimon, is a Talmid Chacham. So Reuven wanted to give him the proper honor and respect, so he turned around to come his way. To see what does he want. But the Chacham wants to say, no, Al Tachzor, you don't have to return. Don't worry about it. But before he said those words, don't return. It's not good to say that someone who's going along the way, because it sounds like don't return, which means it's going to be such a treacherous path and it can be so dangerous, you're not going to make it back because you're not going to survive. So he caught himself, and he said, just wait for me, I'll be right there. Says the Pele Yoetz, speech is so powerful. You could say something, you don't even have any negative intention to say anything wrong, but you say it when it could have a connotation of negativity. Chalila, you don't know what you can create with that, and therefore be so careful that everything that comes out of your mouth is done and said in the right way. Anything similar to this, let the wise man hear and take a lesson from. Rabbi saying, Chazal teaches, if you see a person who is sick, or someone is in Avelis, someone is in their week, their month, their year of mourning, and you see they want to stand up for an elderly person who's walking past, don't say, don't get up. Don't get up for them. Rather you say, you don't have to be matriach yourself. You don't have to push yourself so hard. Just sit peacefully. You're a sick old person over here. You're in Avelis. You don't have to get up. Just stay where. Just sit. So if a person says those words, don't get up, that means he's going to say that you're so sick, you'll never get up, chas v'chalila, and you're mourning right now, somebody else is going to die, you'll be mourning, you're not going to get up to be able to be not a mourner anymore. Uzrizus mevili dezihiros, and if you are alacritous, you do this quickly, you keep working on this, it will bring you to zahiros to be much more careful, thought out, planned out. You'll think about everything you say before you say it, and in that way you'll protect your mouth from saying these devarim asurim, the things that we are not allowed to say. All the best.